Hi everyone. Hello. Hi. Well, today is going to be a very exciting stream. This is the first time that I'm gonna be having a guest on the stream. This time is going to be our own awesome Orchid. She's the marketing manager at Avilite Studios, and she is everywhere in the internet, making sure that everyone knows about Avilite and what Avilite is doing and what what are the games that we are publishing or developing or absolutely creating for you guys. And I hope that everything goes well. It is possible that today we're gonna have another surprise guest. Not 100% confirmed, but most possibly. That would be my daughter, which she's 2 years old. And due to error in scheduling, we might have her for 10 minutes. Anyway, let's get Orchid here with us and let's start talking about marketing, which is a very important part of the publishing side of a video game, because as I've been telling you, selling a game is very important. It's as important as creating it when you're dedicating your professional life to it, because making sure that people know about your game and about what you do makes it possible for them to acquire what you're producing. So today we're going to be concentrating and what is the core activity of Orchid. So hi Orchid.
Hi.
I hope that I have
Hi.
everything. Yes,
I can
absolutely.
see you. I can see everyone. Hi.
I think it's working. I think everything is working quite well so far. And as I was saying, thank you very much for joining my stream.
Thanks for the invitation. Totally excited to share a bit of the recipe of our secret sauce.
Yeah, just yeah.
Just a
No,
bit.
but because you're also very busy doing your own streams, and I kind of hack you to be my first guest.
That's a huge honor for me.
Well, you know more than I do about doing streams, so yeah. Uh, maybe I should be a guest in your stream time. Anyway,
Noted.
anyway, let's go over the fantastic presentation that you prepare to how to work the marketing strategy on a situation current that we have, which is the pandemic, where nobody is going out, everybody is just staying in, and how as a video game company you reposition ourselves to still be able to communicate with our audience. So there you go.
Yeah. So we're like totally stuck at home. That's true. I'm sure that everybody here is already sick of it, of being stuck at home. But here's how you can make the most out of that. And I'm strongly believing that we're not going to be stuck for much longer.
No, well, regarding, you mean stuck at home, not being
Like
able to,
mandatory.
yeah. I mean, we at Avilite, we're gonna be continue working for remotely at least until September, October this year, just because it doesn't, at this moment at least, it doesn't feel like safe that everybody is going to be vaccinated in time.
That's
So
true.
yeah, I'd rather be safe than sorry, and definitely
Exactly.
definitely taking into account everybody's health. So I mean, we've been working remotely already over a year, and it's working really well. And still, after everything is finished, we there's a big chunk of the team that will continue working remotely. So, I mean, it has changed everything, right? The pandemic. It was a challenge that you and the marketing team have been able to transform into opportunities. So let's head to the first slide.
Yeah. So we're now online, and Today is the day. If anybody gets that reference from one of our games, get a cookie because you deserve it. Yes, that's a reference from one of our games. Today is the day. Online is the time. Everybody plays games, even the so-called non-gamers. Let me be very bold and say that pretty much nobody is a non-gamer now. Everybody is some kind of gamer. It's if anybody plays something super small on their phone, that's already they play. That's all that matters. Also, now that we're stuck at home, we are super desperate for the slightest amount of serotonin, or whatever that hormone of happiness is called. So we spend more on entertainment, we treat ourselves, and as we should, we deserve it, and we seek validation. So we are deprived of our favorite social circles, we don't have access, sadly, to our friends, to our usual hangouts where to look at others and show ourselves off, so we flock to the interwebs. And the next point is also about that. So social interactions, something that we miss so much, it has all moved online. And community-based hubs, which would be like your nearby coffee shop or maybe your local golf club, everything, all those community hubs are gone. So games are the new community hubs, and they have moved to the internet and also resemble the good old like interest-based clubs of. Well, here it was in the 90s. Maybe in your country it was different, like those informal clubs based on our interest. And last but not least, everyone is online. Everybody is broadcasting their life online. So everything is now content. Even if I dress my cat up as Drifter, that's going to be content. If the cat rips my eyes out, that's going to be content too.
So, Orchid, do you think that now that everybody is staying home and it feels like everybody is so connected and so much online, do you think that people are more receptive to receive your messaging when you're online, as a, as yourself, I mean, as yourself doing your job,
Mhm. I would say yes and no. This is like a double-ended thing. First of all, people don't have the choice. They have to be online. Where else will they get the information? Also, the emotional input. Where else would they get it from other than online? Well, a bit of like family and friends, but mostly it's online. So they are exposed to information in any case. However, they are overloaded. All of us are overloaded with information being poured at us from all sides. So you need to be, in order to be heard, you need to define for yourself why you're saying something. Transforming to online is why you're posting something. It doesn't have to be something very official, like, oh, I want to promote this game, or I want to bring this socially important message. It can be, I want to entertain them, but you need to clearly understand what exactly you're putting in this particular post.
Okay. So you say yes, but do it smartly. Just because they
Exactly.
are online, don't think that people, because we are part of it, we won't eat anything, but we will be more inclined to pay attention now, right?
Yes, and our attention needs to be caught. There is a stream of attention. It's like it's going there all the time. But there needs to be something that will catch our eyeballs, that will catch us by the eyeballs, and make us pay attention to that. That is the challenge. Yeah, so the next thing, yeah, as you can, if you follow me on social media, I do like flowers, so I presented this thing as a flower, kind of intentional. When you're either working on your game or even planning the game, even if you're not yet actively developing that, I would recommend defining your audience like the average person who plays your games. It's something like a portrait, basically, of somebody who will potentially play the game. And I made this thing to help identify it more efficiently. There are different factors that go into figuring out who your player is and where they hang out. So, of course, the genre of the game. People who are into a particular, who are into the same genre of the game that yours has, you have you have some chance of getting their attention if they happen to have the platform that your game is for. Plus, they like the genre. The chance of you getting your attention is increasing. Even more so if there is a pre-existing community that you have as developer or maybe as a publisher. Those two factors plus the pre-existing community that is interested in what you as your team creates, anything, pretty much anything, then your chances are higher. People who are into the aesthetic of the game, for instance, like pixel art or cartoonish style, like in Prison Tycoon under new management, that's another factor that that you need to add to the portrait of your typical player, and of course the game topic. And here is where it'll be. I would say this aspect does not necessarily go into this recipe, but in a lot of cases it does. That yellow thing in the middle, that's the sweet spot where your audience is. And I think it's best to explain this on an example, because now it sounds like dry theory.
So, but okay, before we move to the example, the whole point of making it so many factors is that the more defined your audience is, the better for you to target it and to shoot straight to it, right? I mean, this is the whole point. Why would you? Let me rephrase. I'm gonna rephrase it as, why not say my game is for everybody? Everybody can like my game. Why are you defining it so narrowly?
Potentially everybody can like your game. That is always the chance of that. However, for the early adopters, to have the early adopters passionate and totally in love with your game, you need to start from a more narrow audience, and then you go wider. This narrow audience can become the base for a wider audience. But that's the next step of the strategy. I would first focus on this people who are more specific, who are more likely to have your game among their list of favorites, because their impact is going to be the most powerful.
Got it.
Oh, and here's our Asian Greece. Speaking of Asian Greece, remember the flower from the previous slide. So we have here are the features of the player of the Curse of Issyos. Probably, if you follow us on social media, you have definitely seen this game, and it has been showcased on the stream as well. So first of all, since it's currently on iOS, just on iOS, your players need to have an iOS device. They can also be fans of the iOS platform, looking for new games to play on that. If they're nerding out on ancient Greek mythology, like I've been since quite an early age, they are likely to get interested in your game, even if they're not exactly gamers from the beginning, because hey, that's their favorite topic. Also, if people who are into pixel art and retro aesthetics, or one of those aspects, they are likely to pay attention to something because it simply visually is appealing to them. Action platformer, there are people who are heavily into this particular type of game, and they are likely to play it because it's the thrill, it's the mood, it's the experience that they are looking for. They're actively looking for in different representations. And of course, the big community of retro gamers who are very welcoming, as I have seen, curious to new things, and are open to checking out retro-inspired titles on new platforms. So this is how I was defining the key features of those who will possibly enjoy the Curse of Issyos. Here we can see that all of those aspects, all of those sites have some kind of representation. However, if we talk about Prison Tycoon under new management, the topic thing is not going to work here because prison life fans are not who we're looking for. Exactly.
Sorry, they couldn't hear me because I had my mic muted. So my point is, sorry, I'm gonna repeat again for everybody, not just for you.
Awesome.
Sorry. What I was saying is that this is a good example of how to dissect a game and check areas of interest by which someone might look for content, right? There's people that like pixel art games, and they look for that kind, and all these examples and research points. But what I think is also very important is that I lost it. Great, that happens, you know. It's just that I lost it after doing such presentation muted. Anyway. It is important to you never know how you're gonna get to people that don't know your game. Yeah, got it. I got it back. Thank you. So here is what my it's objective. The game will run on an iOS platform. It's about ancient Greece. The aesthetic is retro pixel art. The genre is action platformer. There is already established communities that love retro games. Of course, added to that, there's the subjectivity of it, which is that the game is really good, right? So this is an extra that Orchid gets to work with, is that the games that she's promoting, she tries to get these games known by people that are possibly interested in all these different areas, but the game is really good. So if you try it, you will enjoy it because it has these elements that you might be motivated by. So it's good to present your game into these different hashtag. Let's call it hashtag, right? How would you call it?
Hashtags work.
Huh?
Of course, hashtags work, and for each of that category, there is a hashtag.
I mean, like concept. Like, why would you promote this game to iOS people that are interested in iOS? Because the game is on iOS, and maybe they by knowing it, they think, oh, look, this is interesting. I have an iOS. I'm interested in iOS, and this game also. Okay.
It's impressively high quality. So it's something that they, there is a bit of prejudice against mobile games. I had to fight that for a little bit, and then you present something. If you present it nicely, I've seen those comments like, "Hey, this is really good," and I'm like, "Told you."
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously this is like objective items or components of your game where your game fits, but then obviously it has to be backed, or at least in our case is always backed by quality, which we make sure we get there through quality assurance, testing, and all that stuff, right? So
yeah, exactly.
Meeting the community. How now we know what might be interesting, what are the items or the marketing points of the game, and we want to reach the community. So
yeah, so now that you know who they are, you have like an abstract portrait of your player, of your typical player. Now it's time to figure out where they hang out and make your big entrance into that scene. But careful entrance. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. Of course, social media, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok are my favorites here. If you ask about Facebook, it's okay to promote a bit different type of content, for instance, even upcoming development streams. But for game promotion, not so much unless you have an established community there, or unless you find some established community for the games of your type. In this case, you need to research this case by case, game by game. Then we have influencers, and I'm not talking about those biggest ones, but I would say the medium-sized ones, or even the micro-influencers, 4,000 or 5,000 followers, who have an engaged community. You don't look like at the following number. Well, you can have a quick look, but that's not the main criteria. You go into their comments. And if you see a discussion there, if you see jokes, if you see something like an internal culture, that's your person. And of course, similar thing with Twitch and YouTube creators. With YouTube, again, you go into the comments, and with Twitch, you try to catch somebody on stream, and then then you join the chat and you see if that's the community, if that's your job, if those are you feel like comfortable there with your if those are the people who you would like to play your game. I would recommend engaging with that person, with that streamer, having some kind of professional friendship. I like calling it like that.
But I think that it's very important to also take into account that why would be more interesting for you to reach to a smaller influencer, smaller in the number of followers that they have, like Orchid said, 4,000 followers or audience or whatever, instead of going for the super big
15,000.
Yeah, exactly, that have millions or hundreds of thousands, right? Because these influencers that have a smaller audiences, these are the core. This is the core audience that is very segmented to whatever these influencers do. And as Orchid was explaining in the previous slide, this influencer might be specialized into iOS games. And you approach them, and they have this super core community, and they will listen. They will pay more attention to whatever you have to show them. Listen, we have a great game. Do you want to try it? And well, that's their audience is truer. Have a direct interest in whatever these influencers say. rather than the big names with hundreds of thousands, where they go into mass, and that means that there's a lot of people that follow but are not really interested necessarily into your product, because they have a widest range of subjects, or
Exactly like that.
or
And also those numbers, they can be increased artificially. So
exactly. And that's also very important to check whether, as Orchid was saying, or to check not only the number of followers, or how big his audience or her audience or their audience is, but also how is the engagement. And the engagement would be whenever they put something out, is people reacting to it, and how is the reaction, is engaged, or is it's robotic, because maybe they don't do a proper, I don't know, bot handling, and there's like bots, or so if there's a conversation, if there's like content that are being taken into consideration, then that person is communicating with an audience that is looking for whatever they put out. So it's more interesting, can be more effective to work with this kind of influencer, or streamer or YouTuber, than with the big ones, because they are so much interest that your little or your content is of no relevance to them. But Orchid doesn't stop there. She goes into Reddit.
yeah. And speaking of influencers, one small addition, like if you go for the big ones, open your pockets. That's like, if you go for the big ones, they even if they're passionate, at least what I have seen, and nothing against them, it's just like a statement of fact that even if they seem passionate about something, they're going to ask for some kind of money. And let me tell you, that is no small money. And again, I believe that some kind of honest coverage, from not based on money, but based on the interest, that's what matters. Because yeah, you can pay and you can buy anything that's not genuine. I don't judge those who do. That's another strategy. But I'm just more of a believer into this like personal attachment to a game or a type of games, and forming a relation with the creator. While with the smaller ones, they are genuinely excited about you reaching out. That's like partnership. That's not just like a signed paper, signed deal, and that's it. No, it's more. It is likely to develop into a long-term partnership, and
it feels more. I think it feels more like a contribution. Like they're also contributing to create whatever anything becomes, and it develops a very interesting relationship through the time. I think that's what in the past developers and publishers try to do with media, to establish a relationship with the journalists that would report on games. And now it's more about relationship with influencers, or with people that are really passionate about, as you said, genre or your game, if you become big enough. And I think that what we're living right now is that video games have become so central to the culture of an enjoyment and entertainment of a whole generation, that it's, I don't know if it's easy. That's not for me to judge. That's for Orchid to tell. But I would say that there is an influencer that's gonna be specifically streaming or talking or influencing regarding the genre or the topic or the platform of your game, right?
That's
and it's for you
exactly
to tell
like that.
whether it's easy or not to find them and to check.
No, it takes. Okay, we don't have the option to beep it out, so I'm gonna say it takes a lot of time to find the right ones. It can take. It looks easy from the outside, and I used to think, before I started working in this, I used to think it's kind of easy to pinpoint them, to find them, to reach out to them.
Yeah.
But no, it's like it's a lot of legwork. It's an entire day that you look for people, you check them. I do it on Social Blade and other tools, but now I can only remember Social Blade, to check how genuine they are, how genuine their community is. Because as I said earlier, numbers of followers, they don't talk much. Newsletter. Oh, thank you. The chat is.
Yeah. Vida Island V says that your newsletters are pretty cool too.
Oh.
And most newspapers are rather boring. yours are fun. Well, Orchid doesn't put
Trying.
out newspaper, right? News, just
I
news.
used to.
Huh? Oh,
I
you do?
used to.
Okay.
Yeah, my news background, now I can do the opposite. It's like a rebellion. Well, May the 4th be with you, so Star Wars spawns, I'm trying not to make too much of them.
No, but I agree. I agree with Peter Island views that you definitely and whenever if you ever stray, it's like no, okay, that's not your style. You can be. I mean, you are fun. You really share passion and because it has happened, right? But
Yeah.
definitely your tone and your approach is to fun, entertaining, and informative, but not boring, not like standard procedure. Note, news. No, right? It's more like,
Yeah.
hey, news.
Yeah. Yeah, but sometimes the formal news training pops out, and then I have to like slam it down, like go away, go away.
Yeah. So
Yeah, so speaking of Reddit,
let's talk about how to manage and deal with Reddit and forums. And yeah, maybe these are, would you say that Reddit and forums are similar, or maybe forums are similar to Discord servers?
that's an interesting question. Huh, that is definitely food for thought, but I would say Reddit is like the new forums.
Okay.
Something like that, but it's like the, how is it, like all ways lead to Rome? No, like all forums lead to Reddit. It's like, because you can find anything there on
Yeah.
Reddit, pretty much anything. Of course, I'm into game and cat threads a lot. You can find even like threads dedicated to specific glitches in games and specific cat positions. So it goes very, very specific there. However, on Reddit, it's super strict in terms of like self promotion. So you have to spend there more time than you would expect because you really need to hang out there in order to be able to do a decent amount of self promotion. And from one side, I do understand why the admins of subreddits are so strict about it, because as an admin myself, to different ones, I've been in that role, it's really hard to keep an eye on that, like to prevent people from sharing stuff that is not relevant or even outright harmful. However, I wish it was easier for developers and also for publishers to somehow get their stuff out there because, well, we present something and it's up to people whether to get it or not. We're not like shoving it up their throats.
Yeah, no, but absolutely, but it's completely understandable that the I forgot the name of the people that manage the subreddits is called, they have a name.
Admin,
Oh, just
the
admin.
admins,
Oh, okay.
yeah,
I
the
thought it
moderators,
was
the
like
moderators.
something sophisticated, like Redditors or something. I don't know. I don't know.
Redditors are users.
Okay, then forget it.
Yeah,
So,
the moderators, I think.
okay, the
Yeah, mods.
moderators on Reddit. Yeah. So I understand that because it would be the same for us on our Discord server, or we don't have a forum, but if we had, then yeah, I mean, when we are using forums or Reddit, we don't want necessarily to be bombarded with flat out ads. We
Yeah,
want information that it's valuable for us. So that's I'm not gonna go ahead of ourselves in the presentation, because but that's very important. I think that it's very important how you present yourself in this kind of forums where it's supposed to be a share of knowledge, and of course depending on how you see at it, adds our knowledge, kind of. I mean, anyway. So how do you go about getting to know the community on Reddit?
so first of all, there are different. I just type in the keyword, for instance, iOS or Apple Watch, like I did with Mindkeeper. With Mindkeeper, it was quite interesting because I type in Apple Watch. Of course, I find the subreddit for Apple Watch. I looked up for Ninja Chowdown, for instance. I looked up everything that was about donuts, and I learned so much about donuts. I've never known so much about donuts in my life.
Who would have thought, huh? You get to
Yeah,
be an expert on anything doing video games.
yep. And my cat got a donut-shaped bed after that.
Okay. So on
Uh,
Reddit, you would go about checking the keywords that we were talking about prior, and then in depth on the game itself. And
yeah. So
and
first.
what about forums? What kind of forums are you active in any other kind of forum besides Reddit?
No, so Reddit, I wouldn't call it. It's not the same. I would
No.
separate Reddit and forums. So,
Okay.
Touch Arcade ones are pretty good. If we're talking about mobile titles, that one I like because there is community that is like in those old good forums with in-depth discussions with logical conversations. Forums are more like special. I would say they're even more specialized than Reddit. Reddit is you can find something on any subject, and it's very strict. You need to add something unique to that conversation. While on forums, the focus seems to be more on the conversation itself, and they're in general a bit more welcoming, but only if you stick to the topic. For instance, the forum about some ancient Greek mythology, you don't go there with pixel art, for instance. So you need to, depending on where you go, both on Reddit, on forums, you need to package your game presentation in the interest of the people who hang out there. That is tricky. That's I usually discovered that. So one of the, because searching for them directly is quite a challenge. So first of all, you can go on Reddit, and often Reddit subreddit admins, they put a Discord server link. That could be a good start. That could be something because again, interest based, and those Discord servers are usually pretty good. Also, on if you go to specific, if you already interact with influencers, their Discord servers might be another good start because they are communities that you might already know from those influencers, either streams or social media comments. But in Discord servers, the first thing you do always, or almost always, you find who is the mod, who is the admin, and you ask them for permission.
Sorry, again, I'm playing with the mic. No, it's just that I'm turning it off when you're answering, so there's no like issues with the mic. Anyway, my question is, my comment now was regarding the events online. I myself, I used to travel a lot. When the pandemic started, I stopped attending events. I haven't attended any event online because I loved it was a part that it was favorite of my work, which was traveling for Avilite. I've been really far. I've been to Japan, I've been to Qatar, I've been to a lot of countries in Europe, I've been to the States, and everything I've done it because of Abilite. But when pandemic happened, also true because of Carmen, I took the chance and not travel. So I don't know how. I know that you, Orchid, have attended has attended quite a couple of times already
Yeah.
to an online event, but I don't know. I think that everybody's looking for the pandemic to finish to really go back to the event side of
True.
things. What are your thoughts about it?
Yeah, that's for sure. And we all, I keep seeing it on Twitter, like people just, oh, the first event I'll go when the pandemic is over. Or, oh no, that one is online again. So it's like people see events going online as the sign of the pandemic continuing, which is understandable. However, there is one big advantage for events online plus event communities is that you can attend from everywhere. You don't have to like even if you, for instance, if you're home for any reason, like even outside of the pandemic, this is like if the events are open to you. And also for me from Ukraine, some locations are quite a challenge to get to.
Yeah,
And also,
that's true.
yes, yeah, you can also have your cat with you at the conference. That is also new for me. So
For the cat lovers out there, this
yes,
has been like awesome.
yep, definitely. So there is another good side of it. And event communities, so usually communities that meet up at events, they are already connected online. Now sadly the thrill of meeting your industry friends in real life is gone for a bit, but still online events they give some of, or at least to me personally, they give some of this energy, at least for a bit. It's definitely not the same, but and making contacts on LinkedIn or even on official Discord servers, it's definitely not the same like in real life. However, it is already something. And again, Discord server that is united against an event. Those might be useful too.
I find it very interesting. So, okay, here it's true that you're talking about meeting the community, but there's no reference about LinkedIn or Facebook.
Facebook. Actually, yeah, forget about that. So, what
No,
about that?
this was not like a trick comment. It's like you didn't put it. Why?
Oh, oh, because I did not focus on this. This was one of the like backup things. So this is definitely not the main channel. I'm meeting the community, uh,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
at least something.
Because Facebook, I think that it feels like I got you, but it's not like that. You left it out because Facebook is no longer a place to meet your audience, really. I mean,
Mm-mm.
Facebook is like we do it. We keep
Here we are.
posting on Facebook, but it's not really where we connect with our audience or we connect with people that enjoy our games. Even though we receive questions and we answer them, but Facebook is really no place anymore to try and find people. And Nuru is commenting that the more I forget about the Facebook, the happier I tend to be. So this is an easy one. So yeah,
Yeah.
so it's a shared feeling. But and LinkedIn, I get the feeling that we're being more active on LinkedIn, but it's for different reasons, right?
Yeah.
It's not to meet community, it's not to build community. But what would be the reason that we are active, we're being more active now, but not with the goal of meeting the community?
That's a different part of our community as a game publishing team, as a game development team. So we have the gamers community. That's one thing for the games. But we also have the other side of our community, which is the development scene, the publishing, so industry colleagues. So we have like a two in one in the community, gamers and industry people. So LinkedIn is where it's basically now it's the equivalent of business card exchange.
True, true. It's funny that you say that because I was just talking with, I think it was Miguel, about, I don't know who it was, but it was exactly that. That I oh yeah, no, yeah, it was with Miguel. It was with Miguel because we were we were watching a documentary about people on the spectrum, and there was this girl that she was like really full on in the spectrum, but she has like binders with business cards, right?
Mhm.
And and we looked at each other, and I told Miguel, you know that I actually have a couple of this. I have two binders with business cards, but I don't have them anymore. I mean, I have them, but I don't use them anymore. I used to use them, but I don't use them anymore because it's true that now whenever I get a car, if I do, I actually check on LinkedIn, make the connection, and forget about the car. So it for me it has completely replaced the card exchange, but at the same time I would exchange cards going physically to an event, right? Because otherwise, if I'm meeting people online already, I mean, what, I don't, how would I give the card? No. So, okay. And then there's a hint here, which is a
Yeah.
recommendation on checking how other games where you feel that are similar or share some identities, like your game, do in order to get inspired, I guess, right? So
Yeah, you
that's
just go find others.
yeah, actually, this part of checking what other games do, we do it at several stages, both in game development and in publishing. It's not like well, I was going to say we're not taking notes, but, in order to be woke, you have to know what's going on. I'm not saying that I know everything or that I don't know, that everybody knows everything, but definitely when we check an IP or when we check to the development of a new game or whatever, we check what's going on in the market, who is doing what, and obviously when it comes the time to promote the game, we do again the same. how these games that are doing well are doing and why are they doing well. So it is good to see other people's reflection and take notes on what they are doing well and try to do it, and if possible doing better. It's not being being high nose, but it's like if you can do a spin that it's like personal to you but by others inspiration, well, best. Next slide.
Now, yeah, and another quick note
Oh,
about
sorry.
the other game communities. If you see some influencers, so instead you see a game similar to yours or similar to one aspect, for instance, like some retro-inspired iOS game that you admire, that has a similar community to yours. If you spot some interesting influencers in their community, I don't think it's that much of a sin to at least reach out to them, like, "Hey, we saw that you like something, that you like that game. We have something in this direction. Here it is." So you're not like forcing anything. You're just presenting in case they like it because you care about what they're into. You're basically into the same thing that they're into. So that's another thing you can do in other games communities. Yeah, I think we can go to the
Oh,
next slide now.
yes. And this slide talks that is specifically on how to get into a community or into a network, or once you're going to introduce your game or yourself. These are key points, right?
Yeah, that's basically getting your paw in the door.
Yeah.
So now that we know where our players hang out, now it's time to make our grand entrance, but very carefully not to step on the landmines, because it often feels like that. That you're making like this big entrance, but watch out. So the first idea that is a good thing to follow is to wrap your creation into their interests. So you center, yes, you're presenting what you have created, but you center it against the people that you're handing it to. So you deliver your information piece, but make it relevant to the target audience. So you make it relevant to what they're into, the community that you are entering. So you shift the focus from yourself to the target audience. And we're going to look at Mindkeeper, the Lurking Fear, as an example in, I think, a few seconds. So yes, it's you who created something, but your goal is to show what's in it for them. It's like, okay, they are going to ask, what am I getting out of that? Why do I need that? Why should I care? And you need to come with something like, here's something cool for you. Here's something cool for your device. Here's something cool for your interest, for your hobby.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think, well, we've been already hinting at this information because I think this slide, for me, is particularly important because you're not gonna achieve anything if you're not able to put yourself into whoever is listening to you place. Nobody wants to hear anybody rumbling or hear about themselves. Everybody wants to hear about themselves. Like, I don't want you to talk to me about you. I want you to talk to me about me and why I am going to be happier and why am I going to be better, or why am I going to be, I don't know, cooler, right? So this slide is key to any good, I would say, digital marketing strategy and how to introduce yourself and your game. That it's not about you necessarily, it's about why this is good for you. For the people that are listening to you. And I think that this is also very important, not only be with games and yourself, but also when you go to a job interview, because, well, you've been at all my streams, Orchid, so you know that I've been talking about building a team and stuff. And when you go to an interview, because you want a job, of course you want the job, but you have to put yourself also into the shoes of the person or the company that's interviewing you, and think, why would they hire you? How can you make yourself interesting for that company? So these are very, very important keys, and I love this slide.
Remember
What?
when you turn on when you turn on the TV and there is the commercial break. Have you ever noticed like how they, oh, this thing is gonna make you eat a lot and not get fat. This thing is gonna make your cat happier. This thing is gonna make your kid sleep all night until morning. So it's like every product is supposed to deliver something to your experience, to your life.
Exactly. Exactly. Or how is it going to make you feel?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, that too. How is it
Yeah.
gonna make you feel? That's uh, how they said they were presenting napkins for real men or something like that recently here.
Yeah. But you know how important it is. I mean, the most important marketing campaigns are not about how the product is good, but how you feel when using or enjoying that product.
Exactly.
So this is also very important. So not you, but the person that it's using it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And here's an example close to our interest and close to what we do. If you haven't played Mindkeeper, we strongly recommend downloading that because that will save you from boredom when you don't have much time. So, with Mindkeeper, the first ever 3D Lovecraftian adventure for the Apple Watch. Yes, first ever. That's correct. I went on Reddit, of course. That was I found the community that was really friendly and really welcoming, which was the Apple Watch subreddit. And people there, they treat their Apple Watch like almost like a pet. They get those bands for that. They have watch faces. They share the like different stats or different things that the Apple Watch can do, the apps that they have found for it. So I presented Mindkeeper as the cool thing your Apple Watch can do. The 3D game for your Apple Watch. It's not that, hey, we created the game, but here is a 3D game for your Apple Watch. Your Apple Watch can run a 3D game. And the picture below is our own Twitter, which is all about us, all about Abelite. So here I could go all like full range bragging, like, hey, we made the first ever 3D game for the Apple Watch because our community wants to see what we created, what's the next crazy thing that we come up with, and here it is.
Yeah, and you don't want to talk about what happened to you when you were doing this informative work on Reddit or
Oh, that
on social networks.
oh, that's the cherry on top. So we posted everywhere. We posted about this game, and well, I have seen it. I have seen it in action. So for me, it was yes, that's the game that we created. It is unique, but it's the game that we made. However, people on social media, whatever they called it, it was a video edited into an image of an Apple Watch. It was Photoshop. It was a hoax, a fake. What the F is this? Uh, I think I even saved the funniest comments, so people did not believe
Yeah.
that it was real. So we had to, we produced like playthrough videos, short snippets showing a person playing it. Like I think it was Miguel's hands there on the Apple Watch. Like
Probably.
it's like to show that it's a real thing. And in the comments, I had to, even when influencers posted this game, I went into the comments of the of those influencers asking what the hell this is. Like, hey, this is Mindkeeper. You can download it on the App Store. And with the download, another thing that we had to be creative with, and creative kind of on the spot, was that at first, Mindkeeper was could be downloaded exclusively for the Apple Watch. And what we again discovered through the help of through monitoring the community actions and the community, I wouldn't call it complaints, but like messages that okay, how do I find it through the Apple Watch? And we realized that people are so used to Apple Watch apps being an extension of an iPhone app that they're not used to looking from the Apple Watch. So we made a small tutorial on social media just
Yeah.
to show how to find it.
Yeah, there were several things that happened with the communication of Mindkeeper, the Lurking Fear, that as always being engaged with the audience or with players, it is a two-way street, right? Not only do we communicate our content, but we also listen. And exactly, I mean, one of the feedback was, but how do I find the game on the App Store? It's not on the App Store. I mean, now it is because we did the adaptation for iPhone and iPad, but it wasn't. It wasn't when we launched it. We launched it as an exclusive game for the iWatch, and it was only available through the Apple Watch newly released App Store. And as Orchid is saying, the users were not, they didn't know that there wasn't a dedicated app store. They didn't know how to access it, and also, so therefore, as Orchid said, we had to develop and create a tutorial to, because it was not like, also I remember like giving stars, it was also very complicated, and you had to also explain how to do it, because obviously, as always, ratings are like, yeah, I mean, Orchids and the whole team, compensation a lot of the time is just those 5-star ratings on the store, because that's how people will find the content easier, in the future. And also the other thing that happened is, so it was the tutorial for finding the game, also for rating the game, and the last thing, yeah, it was a hoax in the
Yeah.
era of fake news. Our game, which is up until now, I don't think that there's another game like ours on the watch, on the iWatch. People thought that it was not a released game. It was just marketing strategy to, attract people, but it was definitely not a game, a 3D game for a watch.
Yeah, I
And
remember that. Those
yeah,
comments.
because I remember that going head with you, commenting on Instagram. I remember those posts,
Oh yeah.
because an Instagrammer got posted, and it got trended, the video, and there were a lot of comments that this is a fake, this is a fake, this is a fake, and we're like, no. No, it's not a fake. We don't fake. And it was, sometimes I feel like, we're like catching rice, grain by grain, but fake gamer, says Nuru. But I think that, even though that sometimes it feels like we're going grain by grain, catching everyone and everything, it's true that our strategy and our positioning is very long term, sighted. Okay, are we back? Hold on.
Yes, we are.
Are we? That, so I was, yeah, we were saying, I was saying that, sometimes, especially listening to the work that Orchid does every day, going into chats, into, well, not into chats, but going into forums, Reddit, analyzing, searching, researching, doing that every day. It feels like this job is like, a rice picking job, that you have to go a little by little, and I think that, that lays on the positioning of Avilite, that we're here already for 18 years. We're not going anywhere, and even though, we're starting here, it's okay. We have time. We'll get there. It's not about speed. It's about quality, and it's about doing what feels right and doing things right. So it's okay that it takes a bit of time. I know it's a different era, I know, but that everything has to go super fast. If you don't do it like this, it's forget it. Well, we're okay. We'll get there. So
This is the pain of every community managing person. Yeah, so getting enough content. Whoever in the chat does community, have you ever had the feeling that you have enough content? That feeling when you have enough content. I personally don't remember when it was the last time when I felt like 100% like that. So yeah, there are good news and bad news here. Which one should I deliver first?
bad news. It's always good to start by bad news, so then, you end up with a good spirited, news, and everything that is bad gets forget. And
that's
Hell Sebastian says, "Now always the feelings there's more that could be done." Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I guess you're alone there.
Well, there's always more that can be done too, and those ideas are best to write down in case we have like a had a creative block. That usually helps. If you have more and more ideas, just write them down. So the bad news is that no such thing as a stopping point for creating content. That you have enough and that's it. You can stop creating and just stop caring. And the good news is that anything is now content, literally anything. And let me be even more bold and say that anybody can create it. It's not like before that you needed some kind of studio, some kind of special environment, some kind of some special equipment to create content. No, fortunately not. You can even make it with your phone, just your phone, and it doesn't need to be the newest one. So here are some examples of what can be content and what you can use when, for instance, your game is in active development and if you don't yet have much to show there. Fan art and user-generated content. Now put yourself in the shoes of the gamer and remember what you feel when the developer of the game you're playing is sharing something that you have created.
So,
That
before moving to the next slide, I have a thought. How so? Okay, the thought. Developers are very touchy with their games, right? With whatever they create. And not only developers, but I mean, there are always a lot of indications on how to use brands or names or scenes or whatever, right? Because there's the IP and how to present yourself is very important, and there's rules for that, right? So my point being, or my question, how do you handle or how do you balance the memes creation, the sharing, and everything is content, and you can do it with that care and carefulness to the IP, the image that the developer wants to give, or the IP owner, whoever it is, because there's platforms involved that won't allow any whatever you want to do with their names or images or logos. So how do you balance it? How do you balance your creativity and your catchy eyesight of the audience with that?
That's a very good question because there is always this back end aspect of checking whether you can use something. So with our games, it's simpler. Like I have official assets from our team, and I have the games that I can create it from. So that's one thing. And also the players, when they play the game, when they play our games, they create something out of our games. It's we basically share. Same as we share our game materials, they share it and we reshare it from them. So it's the same game that we work with. However, when I work with like meme creation, for instance, viral images or something like that, here I typically check and I try to avoid something that can cause trouble, for instance, with some character, like with some popular character that can be potentially flagged and someone can go after that. Also, with memes, you have to have a double look at it, whether it has any controversial aspect. Simply speaking, whether it's gonna hurt somebody or not. It doesn't mean that you have to like walk on eggshells because everybody is now easily offended, but just a quick check whether there is anything that can be like just like that human decency that can go against that. That's something that you need to keep at the back of your head every time you try to create a meme.
Sorry, I was because I was checking whether you jumped to the next slide, but no.
No?
No, I wasn't referring to do something offensive, but definitely, of course, that is very important not to, yeah, not to use the content from others in a demeaning way, right?
Of course,
Be
of course.
always respectful, even if it's a meme that it's interpretation and it's fun. It's a fun that we all can laugh at and about, not laugh at necessarily, and we never put out anything the meaning towards anybody.
That's for sure. Yeah, that's common human decency, and you need to even though it's the internet, the rules of human decency apply to the internet too.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, funny enough, I think that even though there's a lot of echo regarding how destructive and aggressive the internet is, I think that whenever we can, if we do put anything out, it's always in the positive. I mean, even when we got canceled from Twitter, we never were aggressive or negative, or we kind of like took it on the playful side, but like as the
Twitter
days go
jail.
by, more desperate. Like Twitter these days is so important for the communication stream of us as a publisher and developer that it felt like they shut our mouth, right?
Yeah,
and
definitely.
it was very frustrating because nobody answered. It's like
Or
there's
scary.
nobody working in that company.
Yeah,
Because
it's like, is everybody okay? It was like
yeah,
first, and yeah, that was like
yeah,
being cut off from the community, and the community is worrying about us. It's
yeah,
like, yeah, that was really frustrating.
yeah,
So with that, with the user, and also for the users, what I like doing for our players, our official assets for the games are always out there, and like imaging, like videos, like YouTube videos, or like screenshots. So people or people can request something from us. I always put it in our like news communications that if you need any specific assets or materials, feel free to let us know, because
no,
it's better to give them something to use than they will have to mess with it and
no,
possibly do something wrong.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. So have we gone through all? Yeah, right.
Uh, well, yeah, those are. There is just one point that
Okay.
because others are the most are pretty self-explanatory. Streams, YouTube videos, yours, your players, your take on trending memes, of course. Development footage of screenshots, the good old classics. Also, work from home experience. So even team pets. My pet just showed her tail on camera. I just had to take her out of here. And also, there's a thing I called preserves. And no, this is not about food, not even about snacks, and not even about cat food. It's timeless content. It's something that, think of those times when you have nothing to post and you're just like scrambling, you're desperate because you need to entertain your players with something. You need to basically not to get forgotten,
Yeah,
but nothing to post, you know.
yeah, yeah,
Uh,
absolutely. So this is very important for us, especially as publishers, and it's part of also the reasoning of us acting as publishers is that always to have a voice, always be there, not to be forgotten. So whenever we have something to say, it's not that we've been talking nonstop all the time, but that the channels are open, that we're able to know where to go, who to speak to, or with whom to communicate. So that's a whole, yeah, important point of the strategy of communicating, basically. And if it happens, I mean, I would assume that lately there's no shortage of content from Abelard Studios, but there was a time that we were developing or we were concentrating on production or whatever, and there was no ready content. So we took a look inside and talk about the team. Yeah, what
yeah.
yeah.
So from the recent ones, and this is
Timeless.
something that was pretty cool, like was book recommendations from our team. If you go on our
Yeah,
Twitter,
I love that one. I
yeah,
think that was an amazing post. I thought it was very interesting. I mean, there
yeah,
were recommendations that I wasn't aware of, so I
oh,
thought it was very interesting. Yes.
oh, awesome. So it's on our Insta. Yeah, if you type in exclamation mark socials, you'll see all our social channels, and you can find it posted on our Insta.
Yeah.
And feel free to suggest your favorite books
Yeah,
on
yeah.
game
I was
dev.
not asked.
Yeah. Okay, just I want to know more.
Just it's okay.
Yeah,
It's okay.
yeah, and that content it needs to be best taste versatile. If we're talking preserves, if we're talking like snack
Yeah.
terms. If you create content, try to create it already with reusability in mind, which means I'm making something, but can I present it on Twitter? Can I present it on Instagram? Or can I make a TikTok video out of that? That way of thinking helps create one piece of content that you can reuse or easily adapt to different platforms, so you're just getting more out of one piece.
And I moved to the next slide because you were already introducing it.
Exactly.
And that's what brought us here in the first place, right? Because Twitch streams are really a fountain of resources for us in terms of being out there. And even though it's not here listed, I think it's also helping our presence on LinkedIn, right?
Yes, that is kind of a more recent development. I was checking how that works, and it works. So Twitch streams is like a very recent and fresh example of how one piece of content, which is the stream itself, how we can produce many more. You can use quotes and outtakes that I use on Twitter to promote upcoming streams, or for instance, for Indie Dev Hour, catchy stuff. Or I really like your quote about the things not being blue. That is like from the publishing stream. The water is not blue. The sky is not blue. That is awesome.
Yes, but it's true. It's yeah. Yeah, it's good. It's good that you like my streams.
Of course, yeah. So every Tuesday at this time, there is always something fun happening.
Oh, thank you.
That's true. So also out of that, out of Twitch quotes, out of Twitch clips, this built-in tool for clipping is really cool and is really handy. I don't have to fiddle with a video editor because that takes a bit more time and effort. You can make Twitch clips. You can edit them into an Instagram-friendly square format, and you get a post. Check out today's that I used to promote this stream. It's also made out of a Twitch clip. Also story, you put it in another template because it's a different ratio. You got a story, same format, but a bit more narrow within the template. The clip for TikTok. TikTok is quite a new platform, so I'm still experimenting with how this content performs on that one. But you can also make TikTok content from streams, and I've seen a lot of streamers do that. Of course, the long video, because mind the time zones, not everybody who wanted to join us has joined us. So later, it's good to put a long video on YouTube, or people can discover it over time, which also contributes to the idea of timeless content. Because what we're talking now is going to be maybe different, but still not irrelevant even in a few years. And the announcement of the stream is also present, so we get another type of exposure.
Yeah. I because I know the presentation and I know that there's no special place for it, I'm gonna have a talk with you regarding TikTok. And I want to mention that I am an avid consumer of TikTok. I honestly can say that it's the first social network that I find personally useful and entertaining. All other platforms, all other networks, I've had to join either professionally or, well, basically professionally, because even Facebook I joined because I had to do a compare work with the job that I had at the time, which was a social network in Germany. I was working there, and it's when, I don't know. I don't think we have any Germans checking, but I used to work at a StudiVZ, which was the German Facebook, and that's how I got into Facebook. I didn't think it was interesting at all. Twitter, same thing. Instagram, I only recently use it for sharing pictures of the most beautiful baby girl in the world, which is Carmen. YouTube, I tried it too, but I didn't take. But TikTok, my niece, my 8-year-old niece showed it to me, and I thought from the first go, I thought, wow, this is awesome. But my point that I'm going way back is that you, Orchid, when become aware. There you go. Hel Sabathiel is from Germany, so he knows StudiVZ. Maybe you were part of it at one point, because we got to be like 2 million when I was working there. 2 million people joining. Now it feels like nothing, but back in 19, what was it? No, not 19. It was 2005 or 4, something like this. It was like a lot. It was really a lot. Anyway, my point. I was talking about TikTok. You took the social network of TikTok under your wing and I started working at it. Oh, okay. So Hel Sabathiel wasn't part of it. Maybe it was for older. But he knows a lot of friends that were part of Studio Outside. Then they came out with I don't recall the name, but it was for students that were not from the university, that were younger, like between 14 and 18. Anyway, so you took on TikTok and tried to figure out from the get-go how we could implement, how could we have a presence on TikTok even before it got so crazy. And you've been experimenting, and if anybody wants to check Abilight's, I think it's Abilite Studio on TikTok,
Yes,
or
exactly.
it's
I'm gonna
Abilite
share.
Studio on TikTok. You would be amazed because all videos is the creation of Orchid, everything. And when I told her, Orchid, you need to be also on the videos, she was super, super sweet and professional. And she's also appearing in the videos because she's so cool. And I think that who wouldn't like to see her do her nerdy stuff, right? So and you've got us on trends. You got Adelaide on TikTok trending, and who knows what's gonna happen now that you're also posting snippets from the Twitch stream, which that you weren't aware of. You thought that it was just games and memes and
Not just that.
but I'm the real consumer here, right? Of TikTok. I don't create, I consume. And I honestly watch documentary films of hours on TikTok. I know it sounds stupid, but for me, it's super interesting and possible. So Orchid is still experimenting, but however, I think that she's doing an amazing job, and I completely recommend you guys to check it just for the fun of it, because she's having a lot of fun on TikTok. I think.
Thank you. And we have a challenge actually. We have this put a
go.
figure down challenge with with those things that you name, game dev edition. So I would really love to see everybody's takes on that.
There you go. And because TikTok is such a young network, it is a good way to check the early stages of video game company. Oh no.
Oops.
Oh my god. I thought we lost connection again.
No,
It was just a blip. It was just a blip. Anyway.
And we're back.
Go and check it, because she's doing an amazing job, and you can see how she's trying different things to find Adelaide's voice on the network. And I think it's a real life case study going on now regarding how to approach the exploration of a network, social network for a video game company. Should we
Exactly.
change the slide, or do you want to say something?
With the TikTok, there it's still new for me. Like as you were a consumer initially, I was really skeptical about as a consumer. I was like, a lot of my friends are doing that, but that I got into that professionally. I was already thinking like, okay, how can we leverage that? Because TikTok has organic growth. This is something that I missed from the early days of Instagram. I really miss it when you could reach your friends. You can make new friends simply by sharing your content, simply by sharing what you create, what you're passionate about. Sadly, those days are gone now. It's all about advertising, influencers, and whatnot. But TikTok has this organic feature, and through TikTok, you can also promote your other social media, at least at the moment. So it's the time to use it to the maximum because God knows where it's gonna go next. You never know.
Absolutely. Yeah, because I feel like you're more of an Instagrammer, like
Yeah.
buff. You really like Instagram, and like you have a whole dominion of Instagram, and you struggle because they remove the organic part of it, and we're doing guerrilla marketing, mind you. Guerrilla, we haven't explained what it means, but guerrilla marketing means that we work more with our imagination and creativity rather than a big budget. So there's no big budget. There's a lot of creativity and ways to approach marketing that are going to be effective, the most effective, and with the mindful budget, the mindset. And this is not a typo. Mindset budget. So
Yeah,
small.
it's now needs to be dynamic. It needs to be adaptive, very adaptive to what is happening, because now the things are moving at an extreme speed, and you have to react to what is happening, what is trending, what people are into. Now
Yeah.
we have one thing that everybody in the world are united about. So we have the amount of unity, the amount of problems in common, enemies in common. We have an unprecedented amount of that in the world, and it would be a sin not to use it.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I mean that with regards on the discourse, like now, in order so we can share common experiences with people all around the world. Like the last year has made something happen for everybody that is living in this time of our lifespan. Everybody everywhere in the whole wide world has gone through a quarantine, and in most cases, this quarantine is being over a year, but at least several months. So, yeah, that's something that unifies.
As you mentioned quarantine, you made a perfect intro for this
Oh, okay.
slide. Because yeah, in quarantine we all, well, not all, some I personally feel like I got even busier in quarantine, because like I hate this feeling of wasting time, so I just decided to fill it with more and more and more and more. But people started looking for new creative outlets to keep themselves busy, to keep themselves sane. That was also one of the things that I was doing, to different creative outlet, different things to occupy the mind with. And there is a lot of content online put out by everybody. And even if coming back to TikTok, we see some super creative and really witty things created by people who might not be pro content creators before, who might not even had anything to do with that. Like now, the one what that keeps in mind is the super lit Mario creator on TikTok. It's like comedy, has like short comedy videos, and those crack me up every single time. And he, as far as I understood, he got big during quarantine. So us as developers, as creators, as publishers, we have a bit of competition. Like we are pro content creators, so we need to deliver some kind of high quality stuff. The stuff that's gonna catch an attention, that's gonna be an eye candy, and also a teaser that would make people want more. So what I want to say here is good content takes time. I was really mad with myself when it took me to create like a sloppy meme. I thought, well, 20 minutes maximum, if even 20, like 10, enough. No, first of all, you need to find the perfect reference. You need to check for any controversies. That perfect wording, one word can make it or break it. So a sloppy meme can take you quite some time. And that's just that. Here we have a screenshot, an official screenshot from Prison Tycoon under new management. A screenshot that's like snap, you press a button and snap and done, as you might think. Well, not quite. How long did it take to create this thing?
Not at all. Sorry, I was muted again. So,
Oh,
yeah, it's just that I'm producing and yeah, I'm participating. So, yeah. Not at all. Exactly. Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt. Go ahead. Sorry.
no, just fine. It was just perfect. So, uh, I remember you told me that it took a while to create this screenshot for Prison
Yes,
Tycoon.
yes, absolutely. I mean, people that work into the video game industry, specifically on the marketing side, they know that there has to be someone of artistic talent doing the marketing assets. Some things that people might think, oh, this is like this, right? This takes like 5 minutes, right? I mean, it's just press a key on the keyboard and you have the image of the screen. But it is not like that. Especially when we're talking about promotional assets, which is marketing assets, right? These are promotional, official. It takes a lot of time to make things natural. It's like it's like that no that look that a wig. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it takes forever to because exactly as Nuru
Yeah.
says, it takes forever to capture just the right screenshot because you want to showcase something that is happening in your game, but everything has to be perfect. So it's not pressing a key on your keyboard.
Exactly, not too off far from
No,
photography. That's
exactly,
exactly what it
no.
is.
No, but like documentary photography, right? When they
Yeah.
have to spend hours with their lenses ready, so the bird will fly directly in front of the objective. So this is the situation for screenshots. The screenshots are not just capture the image from your screen, even though the name so the name is misleading. It's a lot of hours of work to make that perfect photograph of, as Hal Sabathiel has said. It just that it takes time to make things look natural sometimes. Not that it's not in the game, but you want to, okay, I want this car here and I want people here and I want that it looks like this, or that I'm capturing this and that, and so yeah. The right
Yeah.
moment with the most beneficial lighting, getting it the best possible without needing editing. Yeah,
Editing,
well,
editing
exactly.
too.
Yeah, yeah. It's just that yeah. What else? I mean, what else can we say to stress the importance of the marketing assets? I tended to say that screenshots are like the face of your game, while the icon might be the eyes. You know that you can read someone by their eyes and or the face. So this is the first impression of your game. I mean, videos nowadays, we watch a lot of videos, but it takes a lot of work and it takes a lot of talent and understanding of how to communicate well through video. At least a trailer video, right? And screenshots, you see them. You just have to flip through and you see the same thing with icon. And sometimes, well, the icon most of the times can be the only information, that and the title of that you get from a game in order to click on it and look for more information on it, right? When you're browsing on a store, on a digital store. And then the thing that people will see are the screenshots, and those have to be captivating enough, taking into account everything that you said regarding audience and how to capture them, what are they interested in, that they will want to look further, right? That maybe they will read the description, the information, that maybe they will like to spend a minute watching a video. So yeah,
Yeah, or maybe
it's
they'll make an impulsive decision of clicking the icon. Like, I'm a simple person.
or
I
buy
see an
it.
icon
Yeah.
with a cat, and
It's just
I click it.
because we're doing the case study of Prison Tycoon and it's not yet released. I'm not thinking about selling right now.
Yeah.
Just like keeping people informed and engaged, but absolutely also part of it is clicking on, okay, buy it. If you
Yeah.
like what you see, buy it. Absolutely.
Well, for now, wishlist it.
Oh yeah, that. Oh, thank you. You see, that's why you're the PR marketing.
Well, because it's
But
gonna be so awesome, and I'm itching to share more, but I cannot now. So yeah, please wishlist so that I would not something
wish
that I'm not
list.
supposed to say.
Yep. It's already ready to be wish listed. So if you're interested, go and wish list it on Steam. Absolutely. Should we do another slide or should we finish here and continue next week with this? Because we still have some slides, some
No.
information to share. What do you think?
I think we can go like quickly because the rest is not so like I've
Yeah?
already said the most time
Okay.
consuming thing. And regarding this one,
This
also
is
a
super
twin.
important. Track, evaluate, and adjust.
Yeah, that's something that is like the nail on the entire thing. Because you need to make we produce the most high quality games. We're sure about the quality of our games. This is the same idea to make sure that you produce the highest quality of social media content, the highest quality of delivery of information, the highest quality of communication. And this is how you can get an idea whether it's what you want or not.
Orchid, don't kill me, but I have to leave.
Okay?
Because it's just that I'm hearing Carmen. So she didn't come. She didn't
Oh,
do a guest appearance today. Maybe next week. But
maybe
I'm
next
I'm
week.
I'm, I'm hearing her calling for me, and it's been a bit too long. And I think that this is super important. I know that it's annoying for you, but maybe you can just come by for a little while next week, and
Okay.
we finish talking about how to track. Also, I think that it would be very interesting about tracking. What tools do you use, or what tools are interesting to use, maybe affordable, or even free if there are any. So
Yes and no. Yes. So let this be a teaser.
okay. Yeah, absolutely. So we'll continue talking about the marketing, the digital guerrilla marketing that we do as part of our marketing strategy. And guys, I'm gonna